you ever heard of the rattlesnake roundup? Every single year down in Texas and other places, there are rattlesnakes roundup where thousands of snakes are actually killed. Don't do that. The fact is that snakes are great for the ecosystem, right? Snakes eat pests. So of course, if you're a farmer, you don't want your crops to be eaten by a bunch of rodents, so you want snakes around so that they eat the rodents to keep your crops. And there are so many other reasons why you shouldn't kill snakes, and don't do that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to share a bunch of other things you shouldn't do with snakes.
Oh, he's about to shed. Come on, let's get that off.
Mike, you never shed a snake before it's supposed to be shed. This is a shed skin, and snakes shed when they're supposed to shed. If you ever have a snake that's in shed, you never want to try to help it shed. Unless, of course, the snake is stuck in shed, so it's actually supposed to have shed this skin off. And then you need to soak it for about a half hour, maybe even up to an hour into warm water, and then you can actually help it shed off. As a matter of fact, it's very soothing to watch and to do it, and I actually think it's soothing to the snake, but never ever shed a snake before it's supposed to shed. It can damage its skin. I told you no.
Wow, look how cool.
Dude, look how cool this snake is.
Hey, guys. Never pick a snake up from the wild if you don't know what you're doing. And I think you guys don't know what you're doing.
No.
It's a snake.
Cute,
just because of a snake doesn't mean that you pick it up. The fact is that there are certain areas, even here in Michigan, that there's Massasauga rattlesnakes. If you don't know what you're doing and you just pick up any wild snake, you can definitely get hurt. So make sure if you are going to go out herping and go find snakes that you have a field guide where you know all the species in the area so that you can identify which ones they are so that you're not accidentally picking up a venomous snake that could potentially cause you harm.
Google it. We should take Ariana out and play with her.
Good idea, Mike.
Yeah.
No, it's actually a terrible idea, guys. Look at this right here. This is a big lump. That lump came from her just feeding, and you never want to hold a snake when it's got a big lump in it. Typically, 24 to 48 hours after you feed a snake, if it has a lump in it, you don't want to handle it, because the problem is if you handle it, it could potentially regurgitate. You got to remember that a snake is like a tube that has one long stomach, and if you're roughing it up by handling it, that tube can actually regurgitate, which is very bad for your snake. So you guys don't handle Ariana for the next 4 to 8 hours.
You got it.
Bummer.
She got a food baby. Hey, Mike, what are you doing?
I'm gonna grab Helen out because I think we can maybe like take her to Target or even the park or something.
Oh, fun idea. Let's go.
Hey, what are you guys doing?
We're gonna take Helen to Target.
Do you know what temperature it is outside?
No.
It is wintertime, right?
Yeah.
I love when people take their snakes out to have other people actually interact with them. We do it all the time, right?
Yeah.
But you got to remember, these animals are called ectothermic. Do you guys know what ectothermic means? It's actually when an animal can't regulate its own body temperature. If the temperature is 82 degrees, which it is here in the Reptarium, this animal's 82 degrees blood temperature. Now, if you go outside when it's 40 degrees, in a period of time, this snake will actually drop to 40 degrees, which can definitely cause respiratory infections and all kinds of other issues. So if it's below about 70 or 72 degrees outside, it's best to not take your reptiles outside at all because it can be harmful to them. So sorry, guys, you're gonna have to play with the snakes inside. Spring's on its way, right?
Oh, Helen, you might not be able to see, but we can tell you, spring's coming. Connie, I think I just got bit by a venomous snake. I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna tourniquet it. All right.
Go tight, go tight, go tight.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, hey, what are you doing here?
Got bit by a venomous snake.
I'm first aid trained.
When you get bit by a venomous snake, the last thing you want to do is put a tourniquet on it.
Right.
Well, not always, to be honest with you. The fact is that if it's a hemotoxic animal, like let's say a rattlesnake, you don't want to tourniquet it because it traps the blood in a certain area, and you're going to have what they call necrosis, worse in that area.
Which basically just means rotting skin.
So you actually want the venom to circulate throughout your body. With that being said, if you were bit by, say, an elapid like a taipan or a brown snake in Australia, then it's a neurotoxin, and you do want to tourniquet it. You want it to stop it. So you don't want to get that venom throughout your entire nervous system. So in a way, you guys are right. Do you know what kind of snake you were bit by?
A ball python.
Oh.
Yeah. Go ahead, tourniquet it.
Rabbit tight! Rabbit! Super tight!
Don't worry, Mike. I heard you got bit by a venomous snake. I'll suck the venom out.
Hang on now. This is another one adding on to the tourniquet situation. There is no medical benefit for sucking venom out of a rattlesnake bite or a venomous snake bite. The problem is that as soon as you get injected with venom, it's going through your blood system and you're not going to be able to suck it out. So really, all those kind of snake sucking out venom kits that you can plunge out all the venom, they actually don't work whatsoever.
That's a bummer.
Chris, I think I got bit in the butt!
He's gonna die.
Our friends over at Prime actually sent us the new Prime Energy. I think it's sold out in like literally 15 minutes. And so they sent us, let's see, we got strawberry watermelon, so that's pretty cool. And then we have orange mango. Now, I don't do energy drinks. Matter of fact, I've never even tried an energy drink in my life, but the crew is gonna try these, and I think that they're gonna be pretty impressed by it. So thank you, Prime, for sending them to us.
Somebody say new Prime?
Energy.
Really?
Yeah, do you do energy drinks?
Sometimes. I did pre-workout this morning.
You guys try one?
That's pretty good.
Is it good?
Oh, that's really good.
All right. Well, thanks, Brian. We appreciate it. Never grab a snake by the head. Grabbing a snake by a head is actually very traumatic to the animal. Of course, there's exceptions. If you're milking a snake,
Find out why. Oh, went right over the glass.
you have no choice but to grab it by the head like I did with that king cobra. Or if you're actually administering some sort of treatment, and I'm not cowboying up, I really don't want to be holding her this way. There you go. This is good for you, baby. I actually prefer a vet or someone that's extremely experienced to do it, and you could do it very gently. I mean, I could see I can hold this animal real quick, but at the same time, when you really grab it, it's terrible. And if you have a mean snake and you're actually grabbing it because, oh, it might bite me, I'm gonna grab it by the head, all you're doing with that is instilling the actual attitude to be aggressive even more. You gotta build threads of trust, right? Trust handling a snake gently, not harming the animal, actually causes the snake to think that you're actually good, causing it to not be aggressive or defensive. Basically, the only time you ever want to grab a snake by the head, again, is if you're doing a venomous milking or there's some medical reason for doing it, which is very rare. And the truth is that you probably shouldn't be grabbing a venomous snake by the head unless you're pretty darn experienced.
What a beautiful day. Oh man, look at this. Oh, look at the cute little snake. I think I'm gonna take it home and put it in the tank. I'm gonna keep it forever and ever.
The truth is, guys, I'm not a big fan of taking snakes out of the wild and putting them into captivity if you can avoid it by any chance. Now listen, if there's a breeding project or maybe there's a really special animal, you can make exceptions, but the majority of the time, there's so many animals being captive bred these days, you can buy a captive bred animal and it's gonna be way better off than taking an animal from the wild. You gotta remember that the majority of snakes that come out of the wild that go into captivity, into someone's cage, actually do not thrive, oftentimes stress out and die. So why take that animal out of the wild if you can avoid it? Again, there are exceptions to that rule, but if you can buy a captive bred animal that is gonna do well and is established in captivity, obviously because it was born in captivity, why take a snake from the wild? So me personally, I am not a fan of taking snakes from the wild, and you shouldn't be either.
Fiddlesticks. Bye, buddy. I hope you find your dad. Man, I think this beautiful red corn snake will accent, right? Is that it? Accent the tail of this beautiful red tail boa.
Mike, what are you doing?
I was gonna put them together because this red makes her red look.
Although I don't disagree with the fact that it would look cool, the fact is that I don't like cohabitating different species of snakes. Now, you can cohabitate some animals, but when you cohabitate different species of snakes, especially if they're from different regions, let's say you put in a boa and a corn snake or a boa python, a lot of things can go wrong. Number one, sometimes they need different temperature and humidity requirements, but also they can sometimes carry different bacteria as well. So putting together could actually cause sickness. I personally always keep each snake in individual areas. You can keep a couple Burmese together, a couple retics together, but to put a Burmese and a retic together does cause a little bit of problem. Again, I'm not saying that it doesn't always work. Cohabitating can happen with certain specific species, especially if they're from the same exact region. Other than that, keep your snakes separate. They're going to be healthier.
But he's gonna be long.
This is actually going to be a two-parter don't do. The first thing you don't ever want to do is force feed your snake unless it absolutely is on death's door, and then you should take it to a vet or an experienced person to actually do some sort of nutrition. I've said it before, I think you should tube nutrition down rather than actually shoving a rodent down, because there's a chance you could actually injure the animal if you do it the wrong way. The second part to that is, hey, listen, don't assist feed if you don't know what you're doing. Only time you should ever assist feed is if you have a little baby snake that has never taken a meal. After a month or so and it's starting to get a little thin, you can assist feed, not force feed, but put the prey item in its mouth and let it actually take it down. But again, that's only if it's a baby snake that has never fed before. If you have an adult ball python that hasn't eaten in 4 months, assist feeding causes more stress, isn't going to help you out at all. It's not something you want to do. So don't assist feed unless it's a baby snake, and never ever force feed. There's actually two ways to sex snakes. The most common way is actually to avert the hemipenes, which is basically just rolling the hemipenes out of the hemipene pocket and seeing them like that. The other way would be actually probing with the stainless steel probe. Now, I actually don't think you should ever do this if you haven't been taught how to do it. So don't practice on your own, because it can injure a snake a lot. I mean, if you crush it down, you can have a lot of damage in there. Again, I always talk about we roll the hemipenes out. We don't press the hemipenes down. So it's hard to actually get the understanding of that unless you're actually taught in person. Like if someone like me, you came here and I actually taught you how to do it, you could probably do it. The same thing goes with probing, which is even more dangerous, because if you press too hard, you can actually break the membrane. You can actually cause infection and all kinds of other stuff. Me personally, I think the best thing to do, don't sex your snake if you don't know what you're doing. Try to take it somewhere like a pet shop or another breeder to be able to tell you what sex the animal actually is. Here in the future, we may have a product that's going to help you sex your snake where you don't have to touch them at all. More on that soon. And let me know which don'ts you like the best in this video, and I may do another one. That's it for now. I'm out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, there's a playlist that you can watch all kinds of videos. You can also hit that subscription button. It would mean a lot to me. Also, hit that like button while you're down there. Have a wonderful day, Reptile Army. Remember, I told you no.